Hi, I'm Carmen Ketron, the Urban Horticulture Agent in Florence and Darlington counties for Clemson Extension. We're here in Florence, South Carolina at Dell and Jan Smith's beautiful urban oasis. Jan, we met at a fabulous plant swap years ago, and you had some of the funkiest plants. And just being here today, it was just a small portion. Wow, do you have some funky plants?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just love collecting the funky stuff. I mean, because it's not what everybody else has. And the first time I laid eyes on any of these aloes or cactus, I said, ooh, those are cool. And it just goes from each type of plant, you know, I just keep trying to get more and more different kinds. So that's how I got started.
So tell me about your aloes.
Okay, I have some aloes right here in front of me. And every one of them is different. I have a great big one over there. You'll see that later. These I bought from a little lady that had a plant stand along the road up in North Carolina.
And it just spoke to you?
And I thought, those are the coolest thing ever. I had no idea that the blooms were going to be so incredibly beautiful.
When do they bloom?
These bloom sometimes in December, but mostly in January. And they're very large stalks on them with very brightly colored red and yellow flowers.
And after they bloom, what happens?
They just grow more, and I cut the bloom stalks off, and these do bloom year after year.
Oh, I love it. And is that where you get some of the giveaway plants that I see at all the swaps?
That's correct. Aloes will reproduce out the bottom. They get little pups on them. These have a stem on them, so they're all the way up and down the stem. And most of them don't have roots. Now, the ones that are on these type of particular plant, those will have roots on them. These do not. You have to pick them off the stem and start them in dirt.
Nice. And I've noticed a bunch of spiky cacti. Where did you get into the cacti?
I just like the way they look. I mean, they're just awesome. And when you get them to bloom, it's just amazing. The flowers are incredible. They're so gossamer and they're so colorful. And the collection that I have over on the other side of the house, they bloom all winter long in my garage. I enjoy them so much because they're so pretty.
Now, when I first met you at one of our first plant swaps, I was drawn to your Mangave collection. Tell me about how you got started with your Mangaves.
I guess it's been about, well, probably 6 or 7 years now. A work colleague of mine brought one in. It was a pup off of the one she had, and I said, oh, you know what? I saw that in a catalog the other day, and I was going to buy it, but I didn't want to spend the money. And here it was, you know, no roots on it, because when you break the pups off of Mangaves, they don't have any roots. You stick them in the dirt and just keep them watered. And so now I've got huge, that was the huge one, that was a start. And then I saw they got more in one day that were completely different. I said, oh man, those are so cool. So I had to get those. And it just kind of snowballed along the way. And not all of them get pups either. I'm finding that out. There's just one or two. The Pineapple Express, that one gets loaded. And the one that's in front of you there, the cherry chocolate chip, that one gets seeds on it. And I have some seedlings coming along.
Oh, that's fascinating. When are you putting all of these beautiful tropical plants back in the garage for winter?
The first few frosts, not so much, I'll cover stuff. But when we're starting to get below like 20, down into the 25 or so, it's time to start, because it takes us a week to get everything in the garage and the greenhouses up in the back.
As we walk around the yard, there's a lot of stuff that's also in the ground, especially in the raised beds. You have quite the vegetable and fruit collection. Tell me about that.
Well, my husband has grown up with a vegetable garden, a half an acre or more every year. So when we got married 40 years ago, that was one of the first things we did when we bought our house, was built this huge garden in the back. That's pretty much his project. And then when we moved down here, we sort of got interested in citrus trees for some reason. Stan McKenzie came and talked to the master gardeners at one of the meetings, and I brought the Satsuma tree home. I planted it out there, and we didn't get any oranges for the first few years, but ever since then it has been bearing like crazy. It has its years when it doesn't bear, but that's normal for citrus trees. But the oranges are incredibly good. Oh, they're just delicious, and they're sweet and seedless and easy to peel.
Oh, see, everything that you would want in a good orange. I did notice that we have that very cool greenhouse structure around the trees. Mm-hmm. You use that in winter?
In the winter time, usually about the end of November, and it's got fruit on it then, which makes it hard. We put plastic over those hoops, and that keeps some of my bromeliads that are planted around the base of the tree, they survive there too. And we have an angel trumpet in there, which is just starting to come back. But that keeps the tree, it'll get nipped if it gets real cold. But that little in-ground pond that's in there kind of keeps the air moist and it doesn't freeze as easily.
And I love your pond. Tell me a little bit about some of the plants you decided to put in there.
We weren't going to have a pond when we first moved down here because we had one up there, but I came home from work one day and he was out there digging. So I said, well, how big are you going to make it? He said, well, about 11 foot by 11 foot. So then we got the water in it and the goldfish, and then it was time for the plants. We found a place that it no longer is there, but I don't even remember the name of it, but they had lotus in there. So that was one of the first things. And then the water lilies came soon after. And the ones that are around the outside, I just love the carnivorous plants, and my husband does too. So we have about 5 or 6 kinds of hardy pitchers and Venus flytrap out there.
Now, I will say that one of my favorites is your porch of succulents. Now that's fun.
Those kind of got started because I really thought they were cool. And I got all these little pots and I thought, you know what? Nah. So I put them in the window boxes, and each time I got new ones, and they spread like crazy. So I keep adding more, and my husband as a boy planted high-worthias because his grandparents owned a greenhouse. So I've got 2 or 3 pots of just the high-worthias, the different varieties, and they spread too. So that makes more plants for the plant swaps.
Yes.
And they're small, and people like small windowsill plants.
I will say that one of my favorite things looking around your yard is some of the tropical feeling, but not so much native plants. Like I love your oak leaf hydrangea. That's fabulous.
That's one of my favorite plants. And when it's got full bloom and lots of flowers on it, you can smell it clear out here into the yard. It's wonderful. And it gets really, really big, so almost every year I have to cut it back.
And I love all of your palms. That just gives a fun, like I said before, oasis feel. Any tricks to your palms?
Well, when I was up north, I love to have palm trees in the house. I was a palm tree nut, every different kind imaginable, but they don't do well in the house. So when we moved down here, I decided I was going to have as many different kinds that would grow out here. I started out with pindo palms and
Classic.
graduated next to the palmetto tree, and then the windmill palm we had a little problem with because we had some ants that were eating the roots. And then the needle palm, that was just a scrawny little thing when I planted it, and they all just add to it.
You have so many. It's really fun.
I forgot about the saw palmettos back in the back.
Oh yeah.
Now those came from Florida. I bought them at a flea market.
Jan, thank you so much for having us and letting us tour your garden. For anybody who would want to maybe swap plants with you or tour the garden themselves, how can they get a hold of you?
They can email me at smith2261@bellsouth.net, or they can contact the Clemson office, and I'll be glad to show them around.
Fabulous. Well, I really appreciate you letting us come here. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. I've enjoyed every minute of it.